Everything that they did only helped us. I like it. Remove us. I like simplification. Streaming platforms is bullshit to the artists anyway.
Meek Mill says we about to go direct to consumer with this music shit. What happened? I thought everything was good with streaming. How did we get here?
DIY.
DIYers, usually I get a whole lot of satisfaction from being able to say, I told you so. Over the last X amount of months, I was doing a lot of research in real time about everything going on with these distributors like TuneCore and DistroKid and the DSPs, specifically Spotify. And as you know, I removed my music from streaming and I decided to do something called direct to consumer. It's not a new model. This video popped up on my timeline. And very interesting because we just did a story last week about Kanye and his big win with the low budget Super Bowl ad that he did in which he made $20 million in a day. With that said, a lot of other things were going on because of the new Project Vultures 1 that he released being removed from Apple Music and Spotify, among other platforms, because of his use of copyrighted material that was not cleared, samples that were not cleared. However, what he did next, I couldn't help but smile ear to ear about. Let's see what happened.
Kanye West is done begging Hollywood for help. He's taking matters into his own hands, people. What's the fuss all about? So here's the deal. Kanye has been recently pleading with anyone who can to help him promote his latest album. Apparently, most arenas wouldn't let him hold concerts there. And most recently, he tried to live stream the album release, but guess what? It got abruptly cut off.
Y'all, they really don't want to see Kanye win on any level. Have y'all seen the news today? Whoever he upset at the top is not holding back one bit. So remember we talked about his new album coming out and being #1 in 72 countries? Yeah. Well, guess what? Apple Music and iTunes hit the delete button, y'all.
Oh, that's bad.
They hit the delete button and his album has been removed from their platform. But let's be real. If he could make #1 in 72 countries in a day, I wouldn't be surprised if he created his own streaming platform to listen to his music.
Let's go.
Say what you want about the man. He's got the money to do a lot of things that can shift a lot of things, especially in the music industry. After I watched that clip, I was trying to figure out, are they talking about him starting a new streaming service? Or are they talking about him selling his music directly from his website to consumer?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Seems like it was that. If you navigate to Yeezy.com, what you're gonna see is a few different options. One, to get his vinyl or his CD or digital. And he's selling it for $20 directly on his website.
He's decided to open up his own very streaming site.
Streaming platforms removed you. We're #1. Everything that they did only helped us. I like it. Remove us. I like simplification. Streaming platforms is bullshit to the artists anyway. Spotify would give us $500 million between all of us and say, work it out amongst yourselves. I'm like, what? Well, what about Adele? What about Taylor Swift? What about me? They're like, no. Doesn't matter how much any of y'all stream. Y'all got to work that $500 million. $500 million? That's what streaming companies think of us.
Think about this for a second. What he is saying. Think about it.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
This $500 million thrown into a pot is split up amongst the top of the top artists that get to eat the most from that pie. And then it just kind of trickles down to everyone else that represents different tiers of that pie or different slices of that pie. Isn't it so interesting that they have the money to pay a Joe Rogan $250 million, which is half of the whole, that artists who are part of the foundation of what built Spotify up are having a split? It's not nasty work to you?
Musicians and all the label owners just hand it over. We ain't on that, bro. As long as I breathe, I'm here for all of my artists, all of my peers, and all the people.
That's right. He's taking control of his music destiny. But what on earth triggered this decision? Well, let's dive in and find out. So Kanye's album was initially put on Apple Music for all to enjoy, but just 5 days after its debut, it was yanked back. Why? Corporate infringement issues. See, Kanye's supposed distributor, Fuga, claimed that he uploaded his album to various platforms without their permission.
Now, someone put me onto this. With Fuga, the distributor that he used, I guess there was a part of the process that got paused. It got halted. And instead of waiting on them, he went around the channel that he was submitting the music to and then just uploaded it as if he was just some Joe Schmo to get it distributed and not get it blocked anymore in Kanye fashion. And of course, came all the other backlash that came along with that. He's not operating on their timing right now, which is really interesting.
Fulga wasn't messing around, y'all. They even released a statement that said that this violated their service agreement. As you already guessed it, this caused quite the stir, with some fans leaving comments like, "At Apple Music, ain't no way you passed up on the best-selling album. I hope you get cancelled." At Kanye West, link with the lawn mask and make your own version of Apple Music. Muffs need to stick to phones and not music. Hashtag cancel Apple Music. Another way.
It's so funny. They told me the people wouldn't care. They told me people wouldn't care about this, but yet the fans of what would have been the #1 album, which still is the #1 album, they're seeing the difficulty that Kanye is going through as now an independent artist, as now an independent clothing fashion designer. He is going through all of these issues going independent, and he is not playing according to their rules. And they're giving him the utmost difficulty, which I think he knew going into this there would be those issues, but I think that he still is setting an example. So in the midst of me thinking like, okay, I got my little victory lap moment, you know what I'm saying? I told y'all. I didn't even get enough time to sleep because someone tagged me in this. So this is February 20th. Meek Mill says, we about to go direct to consumer with this music shit.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Interesting, Meek Mill. I don't know where that came from, but very interesting. Then in the midst of me looking for more stories unrelated, this video popped up. It's an interview on the Drama Hour hosted by Papoose, featuring this as a guest, Joel Santana. And he's talking about, drumroll please, the necessity of artists who want to make money off of their music going direct to consumer.
Do a lot of direct to sale, like to where people could buy the albums directly from us. You know what I'm saying? Of course they could stream it on Apple Music and you know what I'm saying, but you should be able to sell your album for whether it's direct to consumer too. So if you got a Papoose website, all the people that want to buy it, you know what I'm saying? Right. So they're going to iTunes, they go directly to you and buy it from you. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Very interesting.
I know what you're saying. I've been saying it the last 6 months, but I was called crazy for that. Neither here nor there.
I said that when I was doing the monthly albums, I would do it like that initially. Before I even put it on the streaming platforms, I was selling it like that. You know what I'm saying? Straight, y'all get it directly from me. Y'all hit me up. That's what I was doing. And then eventually, I would put it on the streaming platforms. But just speaking about the YouTube, man, this is why I encourage everybody to come to TuneCore.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. No disrespect, Papoose. Just when you thought, hey, you know, a few people are saying it. Hey, maybe they caught wind. Maybe one of them saw a video. Maybe somebody saw something and went to it. Whatever the case may be. In the midst of that, before I even jumped on this live, someone else directed this to my attention. Yeet has a new album called 2093. And guess what? He's selling it for $5 directly on his website, aka going direct to consumer.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
What happened? I thought everything was good with streaming. How did we get here? I think it's important, especially for those now that are watching this, that are asking the question, okay, I get it. I understand. This is where things are moving. With that said, though, what the hell is direct to consumer? There's a YouTuber named Will Rich who made a pretty dope video. You guys should definitely check it out because it doesn't have a hell of views, but it's definitely good information.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Will. Hopefully you're having a great day today. So there's so many things that you might hear as an artist. You might hear, get more streams on Spotify, run Facebook ads, post content all the time. You need to be doing live shows. You need to be talking to people. You need to be selling your music, all these different things. But it all really boils down to one principle that you got to think about when you're offering your music, which is the first thing, is that your music is a product. Hands down. If you don't realize that your music is a product, man, you are doing it simply as a hobby. But
it's something about this music in the background made me feel like this the part of the movie where they was like, you were right, Curtis. You're right, man. I don't know why I gave you so much fight back. Some of y'all owe me some loud ass apologies. Like, I need the apologies as loud as the criticism.
If you're doing it to grow your music business, you want a career, you want to build a life around it, and you actually want to support, let's say, a family or support yourself with your music, then that's when you have to realize that your music is a product. It's an asset. If it's a product, that means it makes money. is something you sell. It's an asset. It's something that can generate money for you. And the moment that you realize this as an artist, I was just talking with Tammy a little while ago. She was making music, and we were talking about how every piece of art that we make, hey, we got this song. You know that's $2 a month? Hey, we made this song 2 years ago. You know what makes us $3?
So he's talking about an artist that he's working with who started to see, hey, these microtransactions that used to be 0.003 now turn into $1, $2, and from the title of the video, equal out to $1,000 per month because of the amount of catalog that they have.
And there's like 50 songs, right? So hey, that one's making us, $2 a month. That one's making us $20 a month, and all these things. And you think about it, and then you're like, you stack all that up. What do I have? I have digital real estate that we've put out. We have digital real estate that we've created. We have assets that we've created around our music. So music is a product, and if you just have that slight mindset shift of, hey, every month I'm making this much from a song, and you put out as many as you can, and you think about it this way.
You selling your verses on Temu?
No, that's Curtis with 1 S.
Yeah, right. This say Curtis King, 2 S's. Spelled correctly. Grammatically correct.
I am not a household name, but I rent a home. My 9 to 5 consists of making songs that are spiritual. I used to make music inside a bedroom that was minimal, and down in California off of Lakewood and Imperial. I didn't have a budget, so it must have been a miracle. I did it with no corruption, and to me that point is pivotal. 20 years deep, and see I still ain't reached my pinnacle, making indie look good. I'm a DIY centerfold. Please pull out your camera. This my picture pose. Seen rappers get signed because the grind was too difficult. Don't pay me no mind, that longer route was so intentional. It was all a design, and that's why I can sell these physicals. I'm really indie out my pockets even when it's slow. My money low, but now my palms feeling itchy though. I took my music off that streaming with a fishing pole. I took a stand and they can't stand, I ran up intervals, I've been a go. Bitch, I'm really indie though.
I do think it is a strategy to do singles at a time. Singles at a time is cool, but I do think it does come back to creating a catalog to pull from, so that you do encourage people who want to do a small transaction to begin with. This is direct to consumer conversation. You want to affect people who come in and maybe they say, I only want to pay $2 for this song because I actually like this song. You expose them to enough of those transactions that can then become a $10 purchase of an album.
Also, a product or an asset, there's 2 ways you can sell it, right? The first way you could sell it is I could go and I could say, hey, I have my whole catalog. Hey, Universal, hey, Sony, or hey, anyone who wants, small label who wants to purchase my catalog for passive income or to own my music. I'll sell you my whole catalog. You can own it as an asset for blank amount of money, right? That's one way to do it. The second way that you sell your music is you sell your music in a way that's a product, a direct to consumer. So streaming, I'm not even going to count it as selling. We're just counting that as a passive way. But streaming, we are counting streaming. If you look at streaming, you look at Apple Music.
He just said we're not going to count streaming as part of that model. He is talking about as he consults the artists that he works with. In this model, he is saying that we're not even going to look at that as the financial generating model that we're creating. Yet there's some people here who will champion streaming as the primary source of income. And the amount of sweat, the amount of work, even to a certain degree, you could be doing more work, but do it in such a lazy way, creating bullshit music that comes off in the end as just being mediocre or lazy. This leans in on creating the best art you can and then putting it out there for the price that it should be paid for.
Look at SoundCloud, you look at Spotify, you could say YouTube, you could say TikTok, all the streams that you get from those platforms. Don't even think about that as your main product of how you sell. I think of it as front end marketing.
Now, what he's going to now describe about front end marketing is that the same argument everybody uses for why. There's a reason why I specifically chose to take my music off of the streaming platforms. And this is a big reason for this. If we're talking about using streaming because of its reach, that is one business's ability to generate traffic and interest into your product. However, that's their business. Guess who else's business that is? That's your business. If you choose to farm or you choose to collect traffic through streaming, That's part of your business model, but understand that it comes with certain limitations. The same way as running ads. You may run ads successfully and then you mess up their terms or their policy and now you can't run ads on this platform. Well, that comes at a cost. So he talks about one other thing about direct-to-consumer, as now you see all these artists that are much more popular than a Curtis King, that have much more of a reach than I have, starting to understand the necessity, especially when you spend so much money, so much time into the art. And had it not been for you making this music, we wouldn't care what you do outside the music. Now they're trying to figure out, how do I flip that as a profit? Because it should be.
I have a really big problem for you. And maybe you haven't heard about Bandcamp. The reason that you probably haven't is because the problem that they're solving isn't massive compared to how easy is it for you to just go to Shopify, not give up any percentage of your music, go to Shopify, like anybody that's selling art or an entrepreneur or Etsy or something like that, and you sell direct to your fans copies of your music, digital sales of your music, and you sell direct to them. You can drive them to the sales page with all of your products. They can add it to their cart. Same place where you have all your merch, same place where you have all of your products, maybe even your membership there. And then people go there and what? They purchase, and you don't give up 15 or 20% to these middlemen in your music, right? So Spotify's a middleman, Bandcamp as a middleman, because they take 15 to 20%. One of the companies that's getting a lot of traction lately is called even.biz. They would be considered a middleman because they take 15 or 20%.
All right, with that said, let's go over here really quick. As I started to kind of retweet some of the stuff that was popping up, I got some really interesting questions that I want to share here that I think are relevant to the conversation, to anybody who's having any confusion about what it is to be direct-to-consumer as a musician. The question that was asked to me, I've been in shambles, says T. Mafiani. He says, my fan base ain't big enough to go direct-to-consumer, but I hate the way these streaming services are playing. I'm stuck in a hard place. I told him, I don't personally think that you have to wait to have a fan base to get started on this. You know how many startups seek funding and or launch without an audience? They learn from experience itself. You just need a long-term plan. The people who were doing direct-to-consumer when they didn't have an option of streaming 20 odd years ago, they didn't have a choice. You built your fan base off of giving out CDs for free. You built your fan base off of doing these pay-to-play shows, whatever could put you in front of people that would possibly have interest then in buying your direct-to-consumer product, as in a CD or vinyl, whatever you're selling. Another question that popped up, do you think it's smart for someone who is still gaining fans? Because I obviously totally see what you did and it makes total sense, but I still feel like I'm selling myself short just for catalog exposure, keeping my shit on these outlets. I said every indie artist must at some level have the ability to sell their art if they want to make a living at this. Direct-to-consumer will force you to learn those crucial selling skills as you build your audience. What has streaming taught us except dependency on their system? I'm going to give myself the bomb.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
And I think we'll end there. What has streaming taught us? What skills has streaming taught us except for more strategic skills at how to be better at streaming? Maybe you found some success running ads on their platform using their system. Well, how do you feel now that after running those ads, they've returned you back with a warning or a deletion of your music because you ran ads, but then it exposed the fact that a good chunk of the audience on there are actually bots? How does that feel? The thing about direct-to-consumer that I am learning firsthand, because I've had 2 albums, both do very successful direct-to-consumer. I'm literally pressing up the CDs on a website called Kanaki, pressing my vinyls up. As those get delivered here, they go straight out from my house to the next person that actually orders it. I'm signing them right here from home. Now, to be more direct with me, to have my own vinyl and CD printing machines, but we're not quite there. With that said, though, I'm learning some valuable skills that I think I had to go the route that I went. This taught me how to run a business. Doing content, interacting with you, everyone that's in the comments, you guys taught me how to operate in customer service, especially when you're dealing with people who get irritated or pissed off at you having a difference of opinion. It taught me so many valuable skills when doing customer service. It also taught me how to batch the work that I am working on. It also taught me hey, this is what it looks like when you invest this amount of time. This is what it looks like when you teach your peers how to do some of the things that you're doing. It taught me ways how to really make money at what I'm doing. So when I came back to being a full-time artist, when I took all my music off of streaming, I started looking around at a lot of my peers and I'm asking questions, and some of them looked at me like I was crazy, but I'm like, this is not the way that business is sustained. How do you sustain a profitable business without emails? How do you talk to your audience? You have no contact to your 400,000 Spotify listeners outside of Spotify. So what business do you have? Spotify has a business. You're part of it. Direct-to-consumer is now edging its way to being a part of the model. I don't know what that looks like. I'm sure that these labels will find ways to profit off of that, whether it's investing in some of these platforms that we're currently using that are championing independent artists. I think that will happen if it's not already happening. But I do think this is more important than ever before. Please heed these words before I end this out. Ladies and gentlemen, your website is now the most important place that you could ever build, the most important spot that you could build up. I'm not even talking about a big elaborate website. Look at Kanye's. Kanye's Kanye, but look at Kanye's. It's very minimal. It gets straight to the point. It's a place where people can make their purchases. However, when you look at some of these websites, like Yeet, we just showed Yeet's earlier. These look like Shopify websites. You have the same access to those right now. It's important for you to start to learn just some of the basics. Create one landing page. Go find your favorite artist that has one. Study what they have. There is a plugin that will basically tell you what website host the current website you're on is using. But it's important now more than ever, if you are an artist that is seeking, if you are a producer that is seeking to make money on your terms by your own price points, and you do not want to have the freedom of your music be dictated by these platforms who obviously have other interests in mind. Part of that interest is not seeing you win. In my opinion, you must build out your website. You must get it started ASAP. There's many folks out here who will provide a very simplistic way of doing it. And damn it, if that means I need to get back to creating courses, that's exactly what I'll do, because DIYers,
DIY.
we must win and we will win. Those are my thoughts though, DIYers. You let me know what you think.
DIY.
DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.